Hi everyone. We are going to be talking a little bit more about Oakley today. Hopefully my mic stays working this time. I lost it about halfway through the stream last time. So just want to continue to spread awareness about her case. You know, this is really devastating, the stuff that we're hearing right now. From what I am understanding, Oakley has been missing for quite a while. So just going to give everybody a second to come in, because I know that the high in the bushes, I know that the notifications always take a second. And then of course you guys run on like a 30-second delay behind me, so even if you're here, I don't see it for an additional 30 seconds. So this case, you guys, is like really devastating. We continue to see these children that are harmed by the adults that they trust, and it just doesn't make sense. Other than the fact that, you know, there's just so much evil in this world. Hi, Marky. So we were talking a little bit about Oakley the other day. Some more of the details in case you guys haven't heard of her story yet. It's really sad. She was placed into foster care at approximately 7 months old because her parents had drug issues. At around 3, she was with the foster parents for almost 3 years. A little bit after her 3rd birthday, she was placed back with her parents, and the foster care system did 6 months of checkups after she was placed back home with her parents. They checked off their boxes and they sent the family on their way. Shortly after the boxes were checked off, saying that she was going to be safe, was the last time that she was confirmed seen. You know, it's devastating the way that this keeps happening. I have an echo. Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, how's that? Let me change the sound. Okay. Testing. Hi, Tammy. It's good to see you. I wonder what's open. Okay, now, how is that? Is that better? The other day, whenever my mic broke, I put up a second input saying, like, a second input of the mic, and I completely forgot about it being up. I was trying literally everything to get it to work, and it just would not. I was so frustrated the other day whenever we started this. Tammy, this case is in Washington, the state of Washington. It's in Oakville, Washington. And ironically enough, they live in Oakville, Washington, and named her Oakley. Okay, so like I was saying, she was taken from her parents' custody, put into foster care at 7 months old. She was there for almost 3 years and then was reunified with her parents. CWS, CPS, whatever they're called in this state, did 6 months worth of checkups on her and then sent them on their merry old way. Shortly after that is when she was last seen. She went to a preschool for about 3 months in the midst of the pandemic, and then just stopped going to the preschool. The older sister is 6 years old. She actually has... Can I turn up the volume? Am I quiet now? Okay. How's that? Sound check. Better or worse? Okay. Hi, Crystal. Okay, good. Okay, so after they sent her on her way, the older sister is 6 years old. She actually has 3 siblings that are older than her total. Only the 6-year-old was living in the house. She has a older sister that lives with like she has 2 half siblings, an older sister and an older brother, that live with their parents from the other side of the relationships. What, baby? Good night. I love you. Sorry, just 1 second. My daughter woke up. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. So, where was I? The 11-year-old sister and the other brother is, like, the sister is with her dad, her mom, and then the brother is with her dad. And they need to put the new system in. It's past 2020. Tammy, this is actually the reverse of Ariel. This girl was with her biological parents whenever she went missing. We don't know if they murdered her or what happened at this point. Police are basically insinuating, however, that she is no longer with us. They originally took her in and arrested them on manslaughter charges. However, those charges are no longer there. They are arresting them for neglect of the sister, because the 6-year-old sister is supposed to be on medication that she hasn't received in 15 months. So, and we'll get into that a little bit more as well. So I'm just going to read you what the Missing Endangered Persons have written here. Missing Persons Advocacy Network. They are amazing with making these flyers for these children. They do it right away. Pretty much every single case, Kathy Pierce and them, they come out and they make these flyers. And I just want to give her a big shout out because, every case that we see these beautiful flyers made up typically has her name on it somewhere, because she has made these flyers for these children. And so she never discriminates. She just hurries up and makes the flyer as quick as possible with all the information we have. And she does a phenomenal job. So I want to give her a huge shout out for doing that. So she made this flyer. These are the pictures of Oakley, and what police are asking for is, whoa, what are we doing? I just lost it. What police are asking for is if you have seen Oakley since, let me pull it up this way. What's my screen showing right now? Since January 27th of 2021, which is, almost a full 12 months ago, 11 months right now. If you have seen her since then, that is the last confirmed sighting of her. So if you have seen her, that's what they're looking for. They need that information because at this point, the grandparents on both sides are distanced and nobody has seen her. Nobody was in and out of these children's lives. The preschool stopped seeing her about 3 months into the pandemic, they said, and they eventually just stopped sending the bus to go pick her up because she never went. Nobody ever came outside. And so I'm kind of disappointed that there wasn't more follow-up on their end. However, the 6-year-old was going to school, and some of the stuff she was saying to her teachers, to the principal, didn't make sense. So the principal called in the wellness check at the sisters' elementary school. And so that's how this came about, how they started to look for her. And from what the 6-year-old said, you know, it's devastating. She told police eventually that she was told not to ask about her sister because her sister was eaten by wolves. And so, you know, obviously that's probably not true. But it just shows that, you know, her parents were just completely disregarding him. The fact that she was even missing, basically. They were just telling this 6-year-old these stories. And like, as a 6-year-old, could you imagine how terrifying that would be to hear something like that? Something concerning happened in November. They started a GoFundMe. Now, they told police that the last time that they seen their daughter was November 30th, which was 10 days ago. This GoFundMe was started on November 17th. And this is for their home. It says, help the Carlsons recover from a house fire. And it says that Anna Johnson is the organizer and Jordan Bowers, which is the mom, is the beneficiary. Now, it's important to note that this was not, like, this fire was never reported to the fire department. And you can see, like, there's a lot of smoke damage in this house. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. You know, that their house was badly damaged, at least by smoke. I'm not sure what caused the fire, what happened. However, like, you can see the ceiling and stuff, all the smoke damage. This is where this is where they were living. And so, you know, it just kind of shows you what we're looking at here as far as their circumstances. Let me show you their picture, the parents' picture. Let me find the folder here. So her dad actually used to be a police officer, and I'm going to show you guys the difference here. It's amazing what drugs will do to a person. So he used to be a police officer, and this is him now. And you can see, like, just the skin lesions that come with, like, smoking meth and different things like that. And, like, he just looks awful compared to how he used to look. Don't do drugs, kids. Hi, Karen. How are you today? You'll hear this in a couple seconds if you're catching up. CW, but still Child Protective Services involved in this. Yes. Yeah, we see that a lot, Tammy. Like, where Child Protective Services, like, they fail these children. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with our laws. So if there was a situation going on in somebody's life where their children was removed for, you know, almost 3 years, why do we only do 6 months of follow-up? And I say the same thing about for whenever they're adopted. You know, we shouldn't only be doing 6 months of follow-up. You know, we need to be following these children until we know for a fact they are safe. You cannot tell me in 6 visits that you know without a doubt that a child is safe. Especially, I bet you some of these phone visits were through Zoom or phone calls because this was going on during the pandemic. And so they weren't even doing house calls. And so, again, this is something that I think needs to change. The follow-up with these, even if it's reunification. Like, if you had a reason to pull a child from a home, a legitimate reason, then there should be more follow-up if we're going to put that child back. We need to make sure these people are safe. And, you know, the mom has an extensive criminal history, and it's just sad, you know, and I don't want to discriminate because I know that people get felonies and charges for different things, but are we to the point where we need to, like, say that felons cannot have children? Like, Are we getting to that point in society? Because we see time after time that people with felonies are harming their children. And don't get me wrong, I know that people without felonies with no charges also harm their children. I know that that's a thing, but how can we prevent just that one child? How can we save one more? Because this is happening too often. Far too often. I don't know what the answers are for this. I'm just so tired of hearing headline after headline after headline of children getting hurt and killed by their family. It's devastating. So I'm going to play the news article from today. Let's see. This is at 3:45 this afternoon. This is one of the news articles from today, I should say. And it kind of gives you a little bit more background of, I'll just play it. You guys can hear. I think I just woke up my other daughter. My husband's going to be thrilled. Okay. 1 second. Come on, advertisement. It's a 23-second advertisement. They couldn't make it a short one. Sorry, guys. There must be a lot of people looking it up because usually you only see a 4 or 5 second ad. So, let's see. Is the sound not playing? Okay, hold on. Sorry. One of these days, you guys, I won't be such a noob. Hold on. Sorry. Let's pause it. Exit the full screen. Turn on the desktop audio. Let's try this again.
Of this missing girl. Fox 13 News reporter Jennifer Lee is live in Oakville with what has been an emotional night for the entire community. Jen?
Yes, it was very emotional and somber. Dozens and dozens of people showed up at this city park with candlelights in honor of little Oakley. Some of them know Oakley through her biological parents, and others say they grew to know and love her through her foster parents. All of them are now praying for this missing girl.
To honor Oakley tonight, I'd like to read her favorite bedtime story.
Holding on to Oakley Carlson's favorite bedtime story, her former foster parents say this community cares for the missing girl.
Oakley knows she's loved, right? No matter what. I think these people are here to kind of signify that.
Many who showed up to the candlelight vigil have met and spent time with Oakley.
My girls would play with her, and she would come over all the time, and we would do family functions. Yeah, lots of fun with Oakley.
This all started on Tuesday. Sheriff's deputies in Grays Harbor County have been searching for the missing girl on her family's property. Detectives believe her disappearance is criminal in nature. Her biological parents, Andrew Carlson and Jordan Bowers, were taken into custody.
It's hard as a human not to think the worst, but, we have to have hope.
As the group of over 100 strong in Oakville marched for the little girl, the sheriff's office released new developments in the case. The parents now face a charge of abandonment for Oakley's sister, who is 6. Investigators learned Bowers and Carlson were not providing Oakley's sister with medication required by a doctor for over a year, putting her at risk of physical impairment and possibly even death.
I've loved you since forever, before the moon lit up the night.
Oakley was in the care of Jamie Jo Hiles from 2017 to 2019, and nearly every night they read this book together.
Before the sun rose in the sky and honey came from bees, there was you and there was me, waiting for the day that our stars would cross and you and I turned into we.
Detectives are seeking information from anyone who may have seen Oakley alive since January of this year. Her loved ones are desperate to know what could have happened to their sweet girl.
When you look through it, there's a baby bee and a mama bee, and at the very end there's a lady holding a baby, and she would always say, "That's me and that's you, mama."
The Grays Harbor County Sheriff's Office says that Oakley's birth parents claim they last saw her alive on November 30th, but detectives say they've been able to get very little information on Oakley's condition from her parents, if she's being cared for by an adult, or where she might be. They're asking for the public's help. If you have any information, you're urged to get in touch with detectives. We'll have their contact information on our website, fox13seattle.com. For now, reporting live in Oakville, Jennifer Lee, Fox 13 News.
Ziva shoes are the easiest shoes to put on. Just slip your feet right in. Our shoes are created with a collapsible heel that bends down as you step in.
Okay. So, it's just heartbreaking to hear the foster parents obviously cared deeply about her. And that's what I kept saying during Ariel's case. There are foster parents that are out there that do this for the right reasons. They can't have children or something along those lines. Maybe they just have a big heart in an empty house. And so it sucks the same way that it sucks that, not all child welfare services workers are evil either, but the bad ones ruin it for everyone. And so it's just heartbreaking to see how much they're hurting and to know that they're devastated. Yes, the bio parents have another daughter. The mom has a older son, and the two daughters shared with the husband, and then the dad has an older daughter, and then the two shared. Altogether there's 4 of them. Only the 6-year-old and Oakley lived within the home with them. This was reported because of things that the 6-year-old was saying at school rose up red flags, and the principal, after speaking with her, called in for a welfare check for Oakley. Whenever police talked to the 6-year-old, she told them that she wasn't supposed to talk about her sister because she was eaten by wolves. So originally they were taken in, and whenever they were arrested for manslaughter. Since then, the suspicion of manslaughter, I should say. Since then, those charges have been dropped, and they are continuing with the charges about... Sorry, I want to make sure this is sharing. They are continuing with charges for abandonment of a dependent person in the 2nd degree. They are both facing a bail of $150,000 each. Those new charges are based on the fact that the 6-year-old was not being given her prescribed medication for at least 15 months. And so they know that because obviously the prescription was never filled. Which is also sad because I'm sure that these kids were probably on some type of welfare, medical, you would think. I mean, just based off of what little we know about their family, I would assume that there would be some welfare medication. Yeah, the common thing with these children are that they are pulled out of school. And listen, I am a homeschool mom. Let me put that out there. I am a homeschool mom. I advocate, I think that people should be more involved with their children's education, and that they shouldn't be afraid to homeschool. However, we are active in a church group. My son does sports. We go to a homeschool co-op once a week. There are checks and balances in place that people see my children. You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't want to say that there needs to be a law about homeschooling, because I know that a lot of people don't want that type of oversight into their lives. But at the same time, here we are again. She was only in preschool for 3 months, was taken out of nowhere, and then just disappeared off the face of the earth. And it's almost like there needs to be a check and balance for that, to make sure that these children are not, disappearing after they're being quote unquote homeschooled. It's too easy to cover up crimes with this. Now the state that I live in is one of the strictest homeschool states. We have to have medical records turned in, and, periodic visits to the doctor, and like huge binders full of information at the end of the year, and somebody who checks over all of our work, and there's constant oversight in the state that I live. And then you see some of these states where there's no oversight at all, and it makes you kind of weary, because those are the same states that the laws are a little bit slacked in CWS or CPS, whichever area you're in. The same I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I know that I feel like stuff should be the same countrywide, state to state. We shouldn't have these laws where we can go super lenient or super strict. We need to come up with a standard that is the same, nationwide, so that we stop seeing such a high rate of change, I guess. I don't know. But it's just devastating for her, because, this didn't have to happen. She was in a home where she was being cared for. She was being loved. They wanted to adopt her. CWS put her back home. CPS, I think it's called here. They put her back home and then checked on her, quote unquote, for 6 months. But it was during the pandemic, which we know was being phone call checks or Zoom. And I'm sorry, but you just can't tell if a child is healthy through Zoom. You just can't. And so the whole situation is, the lack of oversight is disturbing to me, because now we have this child who is presumed to be no longer with us. They're searching the 300 acres surrounding her property. And to me, it could have been prevented. With a little bit of extra effort and oversight, this could have been prevented. Good homeschooling. I was heavily involved with our county homeschool group for 14 years. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with homeschooling your child. But if you are a parent who, foster parents, I don't think should be allowed to homeschool unless they're in some type of program. I think there needs to be something that has the weekly monitoring. If you lost your children to CWS and you got them back, reunification, I'm sorry, but your kids need to go to public school. That's just my opinion, because they need to be somewhere where people are going to be able to see them, to make sure whatever the reason is that you lost your child to begin with, that it's not happening again. There is far too many of these cases. Far, far too many. Where CPS, CWS was involved, and then the children just poof, they're gone. CPS was involved. Summer Wells, she's gone. Nicole Hall, gone. Ariel, gone. Where's Oakley? We don't know. Gone. It's just devastating. Case after case. Gabriel Fernandez, where's he? It's broke. The system is broke. Yeah, the homeschool is great, but when a child is suddenly pulled out, especially if Child Protective Services has been involved. I agree. I don't know, you guys. I just feel like we continuously are failing these kids. And I don't know how we can change it, but we need to try. We need to do something different as a country so that this stops happening. Whether it's more mental health care, more oversight from CWS, more oversight if you have a felony in your background. Like, should that be included? Not just that your children were born on drugs or something. Should we be doing background checks at the hospital? I mean, I hate to discriminate against felons, but at the same time, you know, these people have felonies. And they killed their baby, or she died in their care, rather. We don't know, allegedly, what happened. So, and then you have like Angel Nicole Overstreet, same thing. You know, custody was given to a man who had felony assaults and different charges for, you know, abusing his own mom, beating her within an inch of her life, and he was allowed to take home a baby. And now she's missing. And just, we look at these parents and it's like, you can see the drug abuse on their face. You can see it. It's so blatantly obvious. And so it just makes you wonder, you know, how did nobody notice? You know, they had to have been going to the store. They had to have been regular customers somewhere. You know, even if they have no friends, no family, like, somebody had to notice that they were always coming in with 2 children and now, bam, they only have 1 with them all of a sudden. And they want to hear from you. If you are the people who might have noticed the difference, you know, the police need to hear from you. They are trying to narrow down this window of opportunity so that they can figure out where she could be. So this also says that someone contacted social services after her child and Oakley's sister had a play date together at her house. While there, Oakley's sibling became upset and said Oakley is no more. Investigators interviewed the 6-year-old who initially said that her mother told her not to talk about it. She eventually admitted she hadn't seen her sister in a long time. She began crying when a detective asked her if Oakley was hurt. Her mother, Jordan, told her not to talk about Oakley and that she had gone out to be eaten by wolves. However, the girl also remembered the fire and that everyone got out of the home except for Oakley. So did she die in that fire in November? Did they set the fire in November to kill Oakley or to hide evidence? When police questioned Bowers about Oakley's disappearance, she allegedly became furious and refused to answer questions. She became enraged, yelling, clenching her fist, and refused to answer any further questions about the welfare or well-being of her daughter, the report read. During a search of the couple's residence, police found blood splatter on the blinds near the front door, and a handprint on the wall in the downstairs hallway. They also found signs of other children being in the home, but no signs of Oakley. Investigators are also looking into the fire that started on the couple's 300-acre property in November. They didn't call for help because they could not find their cell phones. The friends set up a GoFundMe for the pair shortly after. It's unusual that a fire department wasn't called, I would say. Swift told police that he had been at the home on numerous occasions after the fire and never once saw Oakley. Now it's getting clear you can't say bio, adoptive, or foster is best. It's so confusing. Yeah. You know, every time that we think that we're right, we're not. We're not. I was like starting to wonder, like, should people even be able to have their children at all? Like, it's just so upsetting to see child after child after. There's been so many this year, you guys. So many since COVID started. And, you know, that's part of the problem with this pandemic. There is a lot of mental health crisis going on. And it's not being addressed. Abuse is on the rise like crazy. There is people who are, you know, not even just child abuse, but spousal abuse. You know, how many missing women, men are out there right now. And it's just devastating. But whenever you get people and you lock them in their homes and they can see nobody else but their family, talk to nobody else but their family, be around nobody else but their family, and then you add drugs and alcohol into that scenario, this is where we are now. It's just devastating. I'd like to say that, you know, we need to get back to normal and so that this can be fixed. But I feel like this problem has always been, it's just amplified. You know, instead of seeing 1 or 2 children a year, how many is this year that are just devastating, you know, cases? It's just so much. Whoops. Ooh. She's such a beautiful girl. You know, and her foster parents are just left asking, you know, what happened? What happened? And, you know, if social services is this understaffed, because that's what they blame. Every child that has failed, what do they immediately say? They say that, you know, well, they're understaffed, they don't have enough staffing, blah, blah, blah. Well, then they need to not be in charge of this anymore. If they cannot be keeping track of these children, if they don't have the staffing to make sure these children are safe, then they shouldn't be in charge of this anymore. And this is where we go to it again. Like, I'm going to keep saying that, you know, CWS needs broken down and restructured. CPS, CWS. You know, and typically we see them, you know, trying to take children. But she didn't have a disability. She's not a minority. You know, she's a white, healthy child. They don't get any extra money for taking her out of the home. So it's like they took her because she was in danger. And they put her back still in danger. Do I think the COVID pandemic is a factor all over? I do. I absolutely think that that's a huge factor. You know, it's not just in the United States that we're seeing child crime skyrocket. Whether it is pornography or sexual abuse or physical abuse or murder, you know, we're seeing it skyrocket worldwide. There are more cases in the United Kingdom right now coming out than there has ever been. Even, you know, little Cleo that was kidnapped. You know, Australia does not have stuff like that happen very often. And that's why their government jumped right on top of that. And it's just, people are losing their minds. And even though we are quote unquote opened up and like back to the new normal, unfortunately you shut people in for an entire year and give them nothing but their inside of their house to look at. You know, a lot of people have not journeyed outside of their house yet. A lot of people are still staying secluded. And it's easy to do that if you are in an abusive family, to just stay secluded, and people just assume that you're afraid of the virus still or whatever. We make excuses for why we can't go out and why people aren't seeing our children and why. It's too easy. It's too easy with the pandemic. But you add that plus the mental health crisis that's coming from it. Yes, Arthur in the UK, exactly who I was thinking of, Karen. It's just devastating. But I think it's a huge factor in it. And it's going untreated for so many people. And who's suffering? It's our children. It's our husbands. It's our wives. You know, I'm not even going to just say it's like, because men get killed and abused too. Look at Joshua Bohannon, I think is how you say his last name. Let me pull his case up real quick. You know, he is a man who went missing, and he went missing. His wife was the last one to see him. And, you know, they have children and everything else, and nobody, it's like going under the radar because he's an adult man. Let me pull it up real quick before I... Oops. And, you know, I joined his group and stuff. Somebody had asked me at one point if I could make a video about him, but I have been focusing so much on the children. People say they don't want to get involved, but gossip about how awful the children have to live. This has been going on for a long time. Exactly, Tammy. Everybody has something to say, but nobody wants to step up and be the person to actually say something. You know, it's true. Like, if you have verifiable facts, if you have photographic evidence or things that you can show to prove what's happening to a child, to prove abuse, call it in. You know, if you're seeing bruises on a child, take a picture of it and call it in. That way you have evidence. You know, and if you can't take a picture of it, I don't want to, like, you get into a place where so many people call in fake claims. And so it makes people hesitant to, like, if they want to say something or not say something, because, you know, unfortunately, the people who call in fake claims ruin it for everybody. It makes people who have real serious concerns hesitant to call it in, because what if it's not true? They don't want to be that person that called in a fake claim. And it's frustrating. But this is Joshua Bohannon, and he's been missing since June 3rd, 2021. And his story is crazy. He went missing in the Burgess Falls area. And what happened was he was there with his wife. 2 people went into the park and only 1 came home. Let me see if I can find, like, I had posted about this on my page like a while ago. Because like I said, I wanted to cover his case, but then I really started digging into children. And there's just so many missing, you guys. There's just so many missing. So the original article that I seen, I posted it on October 5th, and it says, "Hello, I'm Joshua Bohannon. I'm 27 years old. I'm a son, a brother, a father, a nephew. I'm a human being. I have so many people who love me. They miss me. They miss me because they haven't seen me since June 3rd. I was with my wife that day. She came home, but I did not. I still haven't. I am an insulin-dependent diabetic. I didn't have my meds with me. My wife has also found a new boyfriend. They got together the same month I vanished. There are so many of us missing in this area, and they all deserve to be found. I deserve to be found. When the media doesn't pick up your banner and carry it, the burden falls to the family. My family is like yours. They work and scratch for everything they get. They have tried appealing to the sheriff and rangers for help and have gotten very little. They have a GoFundMe and have gotten donations, which they are extremely grateful for, but there's more to be done. The work isn't over until we are reunited. While your day was interrupted by Facebook being down, my Mother's Day was like every day since June 3rd, interrupted as soon as she opened her eyes by the pain that remembering brings. Where is my boy? My brother puts on a strong face, but he needs me as much as I need him. He woke too. Where's my brother? Help me. I want to be where I belong. My family needs that peace. Will you share my photo? Will you speak up for me? Do you know where I am? Please tell people that I am missing. Someone knows where I am. There is a reward If you can give anonymous information. No one will ever know you helped, but you will. I will. That burden will be off your shoulders. You can begin to rest, and my family can begin to heal. And so he was last seen on June 3rd with Jessica Marie Cooper, Bohannon, and she stated that her and Joshua were at an abandoned house located within the Burgess Falls State Park when Joshua disappeared. He just vanished. Park ranger confirmed that he seen Jessica there, but stated that he never saw Joshua. And Jessica, his wife, is saying that she can't remember what happened and her story keeps changing. And so it's like, you know, what happened to him? This is in Tennessee. But it's just happening so much. So much. I read some think that institutions, whether for mentally disabled or to house children, may be the answer. If I run with integrity and accountability, the old answer to be bad group or foster home. Hold on 1 second. She's getting stuffed up. Here. There you go. I think people are just coming more aware. If you knew the horror story in UK way before COVID, this has to do with satanic worship, school police judges that's been going on in the UK. I know that a lot of it is because people are becoming more aware. Because we have social media now, we're seeing it, you know. However, I still think that there's a rise in cases. It's grossly grown. And I don't know if it's because our population has grown, because, you know, we are multiplying like rabbits. However, it's out of control. There shouldn't be this many children go missing. You know, where are they? We were talking a little bit about the we were talking a little bit about the foster homes that are losing children, the one in New York and then the one in Oklahoma. You know, let me pull up the articles real quick. Give me 1 second. You know, you have these cases that are just, I know that there's a situation with the elite, and like there's all those conspiracy theories about how the high up people are involved in trafficking children and different things like that, and that CWS is helping traffic children through foster homes and different things like that. But then you hear, hold on, I might have to go help him for a second. My daughter's nose is all stuffy, so he's like trying to use the little sucker thing to suction her nose out. So give me 1 second to go help him. Okay, sorry about that. So, you know, we have all those conspiracy theories and the different things, and you think like, oh, you know, put your tinfoil hat on, that can't be true, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, yeah, Marky, the devil is strolling the world. He really is. Like, there's actually something dark that goes on in this world. And, you know, you can keep your head in the sand all you want and not want to believe it. But let me ask you something. Let me read this. Let me show you guys this. So if nothing is going on, Where exactly did 183 children go from the Mercy First foster home in New York? 52 missing from the foster home in Oklahoma. Where do they go? Because I'm telling you, we do not see hundreds of children on the streets. You know, people can claim that, oh, the homeless population is getting younger and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but I see old men. I do not see teenagers. You know, you see a couple that are like drugs or that end up being prostitutes or whatever, you know, but a lot of that has to do with trafficking. And so it's like, where are these kids going? This is that foster home I was telling you guys. I noticed whenever I was looking through the missing child posters, a lot of them came from the same foster home. So then I looked it up. 183 cases since the beginning of 2021. All between the ages of 12 and 16. And the lawmakers are pinning the blame on the nonprofit, saying that it's failed the children. Let me read this to you guys. County legislator Josh LaFons told facility officials this week that the institution needs to beef up security. The runaways have strained police resources, requiring officers to constantly search for the kids. Like it's some type of big hassle. These are children. And most of them are not being found because they're children. And these cops are just so tired of dealing with it, they just write runaway and move on. And nobody looks for them. One of the children has ran away 13 times. What makes a child prefer to be on the streets so much that they are running away 13 times from a place? And so you look into it and you think to yourself, why? Well, whenever I was looking into this home, there are so many reports of abuse and just like every type of abuse, whether physical, sexual, different things like that, like workers forcing them to do stuff. And it's devastating because these are places that our children are supposed to go to get better, to be safe. And it's just not happening. Hold on. Sorry. I'm going to have to go help him for 1 second again. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. She's cutting teeth. And so since she's cutting teeth, her nose has just been like insanely running. She's got 3 molars coming in at the same time. And she's just been so miserable. I'm probably not going to be able to stay on for too much longer because, you know, she wants her mommy. But there are currently 400,000 children in the foster care system. And the, hold on. Okay, sorry. Now we're better. Okay, so there are 400,000 youth currently in the foster care system. Out of these youth, let me see, 40 to 50% of them become homeless within 18 months of leaving foster care. And 65% of youth leaving foster care immediately need housing upon discharge. And the reason I pull this up is because they have no family. Like whenever you take a child out of their home, put them with strangers or in these foster homes, you know, they have no family, they have nobody to turn to. And so then you come to a situation where whenever they get out, they have nowhere to go. And so that helps contribute to child trafficking or young adult trafficking, you know, because these children, they just disappear. Even after 18, you know, they just disappear and nobody looks for them. And it's just all devastating. You know, we have to come up with better ways because this is not working. The way that we currently do it does not work. And so, I don't know, guys. Like, we have to figure something out. And I mean, I'm a nobody. I'm a mom with opinions. And, you know, I just want to try to help and try to figure out a way to make the system better. The U.S. dissolved the orphanage, and for the most part, I think it was a good thing. But is it better for a child to be in a stable orphanage rather than abused by bio or foster parents? Yeah, Karen, that's where I'm at. Like, I really honestly think that we need to consider reopening orphanages, because you look at places like Hawaii. They're claiming that the Kahuluas got approved for care because there is a shortage on foster parents. And so they are starting to overlook criminal histories based on the fact that they need more people to be able to home. So they're giving criminals children. And then we have a situation like Ariel's where she's no longer with us because they are short on foster kids or foster parents. And so it's a never ending cycle. Think about Jeffrey Epstein on the island. Christine Maxwell under the trial. She had sublicense. Yeah, well, and they're already closing her trial. How does somebody with that many connections and her trial is already getting closed? It's less than 2 weeks and you have that many things that happened, that many witnesses, that many things, and it's already closing down. And it's just like, okay, you know, where's my tinfoil hat? Because why is this trial so short? Why? It shouldn't be that short, but we can't let people talk too much because, you know, then people will start to connect the dots and things, you know, things might start making people think, and then people wake up, and we don't want that. We don't want people to know that Big Brother might be the bad guy. Too many people in control have power over stuff that they shouldn't. And we gave it to them, you guys. Like, we gave them this power. We got to figure it out, though. We got to take it away. We have to. But, you know, I don't know. Conspiracy theories aside, all of the other things aside, we have a missing 5-year-old right now. You know, Oakley. And so we need people to look for her. We need her face out there everywhere, you guys. Like, share her pictures, share everything, because somebody somewhere will know the last time she was seen. I'm praying that it was not January 27th. I am praying that somebody has seen her since then, because that is so long ago. And if that's the case, they very well could have put her body out there to be, quote unquote, eaten by wolves. Yeah, and how much have we heard? Crickets. Exactly, Marky. Not a word. They are keeping it so quiet. You know, there's no cameras inside the courtroom and all of those things. Like, it's so quiet. So quiet. It's disturbing. But I'm going to go ahead and get off here, you guys. I don't want to stay on too long. I just wanted to come on and share her story, share the other stories that I did, and get her face out there a little bit more, you know, because she needs the exposure. She needs people looking for her, and for, yeah, so many kids around the age of 5. It's so weird. You know, 5 and 6-year-olds lately. But I'm going to go ahead and close down, and I'm going to close in prayer like I normally do. I'm going to go help my husband with my daughter because he's got his hands full right now. So thank you, dear Lord, for bringing us together tonight to help cover Oakley's disappearance, Lord. Please help guide these detectives, guide the dogs, Lord, to find her, to find where she is, Lord, so that she could be laid to rest in peace. I pray that somebody remembers something that might be what they need. And just be with these missing people, Lord. Be with Ariel's family, Lord, as they go through all these trials as well still. We want to still keep her name out there. Remember her as well, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So that's all I got, though, guys. Have a good night, and I will see you probably tomorrow evening. There's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to dig into and cover with you guys. It's just about having time. You know, the holiday season is rough, and then my children have been rougher lately. Like I said, she's cutting teeth. It's a terrible thing for a kid. Feel awful for her. So keep us in your thoughts and prayers as well as we deal with all that, you guys. Have a good night.